Hello and welcome back to Homeschool Together. Thank you for joining us. This week we are back in the summer of science. We're talking a lot about gravity, and then the interior of spaceships was our main focus this week. We did some arts, we did some games, we read some books.
Yep.
Starting off with gravity. It's a very simple little story, just telling almost in a poem style where there's just a couple words per page. Great for an early kindergartner, first grader to read to them, but also if you have a little bit more of an emerging reader, something that they can read as well. Just talking about gravity in general and that pesky force that gets us stuck to the planet.
Just really beautiful artwork. So this would even work if you have younger than kinder that's just coming along with it. So it's got good feels and things. So this was just cute.
Just a cute little fun book. How to spacewalk step by step.
Right. So as we're talking about interiors of spacecraft, right, one of the big things is where do the astronauts live, and then how do they get in their EVA suits, and what's that whole process like?
That's the right question, Ariel. How do they go to the bathroom?
Yeah, and opening up the bay doors and all that stuff. So this is all based on the space shuttle. Would
those be the pod bay doors?
Pod bay doors, Hal. So this is a female astronaut, and they've written a great book here. It goes into lots of detail. This was more detail than our first grader was able to digest, but awesome for our rising fourth grader. She thought it was great. So what I did was I kind of made some paraphrases for our younger daughter, and then our older daughter, I read her more sections. So really interesting, gives all the details. I thought it was a very comprehensive. So if you want something on spacewalks, there's lots of books that talk a bit about it here. They talk a little bit about the suits, but this is the most comprehensive one that I've seen for kids. Awesome. So I definitely recommend this one. And everything we're kind of doing is talking about the space shuttle, which is difficult because the space shuttle is not going up anymore, but there aren't really many books that cover the newer space flight that's happening. So I think for those, if you want to be most current, you're going to have to go to YouTube to watch videos on that. So we realize some of this is a little bit dated, but the principles of how spacesuits are made up and the life support systems that they need and stuff is all still the same. So
that would be interesting if you guys know of a book that talks about more of like the modern SpaceX, Dragon capsule, that type of efforts. If they have something like that, go ahead and put it in the comments below and we can share that with.
I think it's just changing so fast they haven't had time to publish a book that has all that information yet. So.
The Way Back Home, very cute little story about two young boys. One's an alien, one's a boy, who gets stuck on the moon. One has an airplane, and the other one has his UFO. And they have to work together to try to rappel back down to Earth. And it's kind of like the moon is just above you on the second story building. It's just got to rappel back down. It's super sweet. The alien at the end thinks he got abandoned from the boy, and the boy remembers he's got to come back and help his friend. It's just a very sweet story.
Yeah, just cute.
Great for like a younger learner. You talk about that book being a little bit more advanced, more information based. This is really more for that first and kindergartner. That perfect for them.
Yeah, really fun.
Another DK. What's this? DK Find Out.
The
series.
DK Find Out series is great. So you've got your DK Eyewitness books, and then of course we love the Space Encyclopedia we showed you last week. But these are great because they're smaller. The language is a bit simpler. So if you find those books a bit too much, a bit overwhelming, I think this is great for kids.
Well, especially a book about specifically space travel in general can be with you for these first couple weeks as you're going through the curriculum.
Yeah.
It may be kind of like, I don't know, maybe like an intermediate spine, something to have for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe you could check it out from the library and then keep it for a couple of weeks and read it just a little bit piecemeal throughout the week.
It has great interiors. So as you can see, it talks all about how they sleep in space and things.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's what I really wanted this book mostly for, but it's got lots of great information in general about spacecraft and stuff. So it's a really good one. I would recommend this Find Out Space Travel.
Now, Ariel, is this a game that's available these days?
So you can still find it. You probably got to eBay it.
Solar Quest.
So we have the Apollo 13 edition, but you might see different. You might see a black edition of the game.
This game is not the Apollo 13 game, which also exists. I'll put that in the show notes.
It's just the edition.
But this is the Solar Quest Apollo 13
So if you
version.
turn it on the background, so you can just so you can see the back. It's essentially Space Monopoly. It came out. It's Space Monopoly.
It's a great
with lasers, but
and fuel and all.
And you have to you're up. So This is a game that I have played since I was very young.
A wee little child.
I think it came out in like 1984 or something like that. I mean, we've always had. It's one of these things my family's always had. I found this thrifting one day.
What's the unfortunate truth that Ariel never gets to buy the moon?
Ariel, right
Ariel,
here.
yeah, right
here.
there on Uranus.
Anyways, so it's a really great game because you're actually flying through. Now, Pluto was still a planet back then, so you'll find that.
Truth.
But it's cool because you're rolling dice and you're basically using fuel to go and you get into the orbit of planets, and that's why we did it this week, because we're talking about gravity, right? In the gravitational pull of planets. So you get stuck in this gravity, and if you don't get a big enough slingshot to get out, these spaces that are black, you actually can't land on. You don't have enough thrust to get out of the gravitational pull of the planet.
You have to go back around.
And you have to continue orbiting. So that's kind of cool, and you basically buy the different moons and space docks and things. You put fuel on them, and you have to make some, Monopoly type rules eventually.
And you got to time bound it, and you have to put some, because otherwise you'll just keep orbiting the moon.
And eventually you have to let people. I think we go around twice, then we let you out of the gravity.
What's the proper sound effect that the people at home can do?
So we have fuel hydrons, then you have to fill your rocket ship with fuel. So you can find this game on eBay or thrifting. Take a look for it. It's really pretty cute. There's like these little fuel hydrons, and it's got
You got your little rocket ships.
Monopoly money and properties. It's Space Monopoly.
Yeah, and there's the.
And we're not
properties.
usually Monopoly fans, but this it's cute, and especially if you time bound it, it's a pretty fun game. So Solar Quest.
Just like Monopoly, you immediately put in a lot of house rules to keep it from getting nasty.
Yeah, right.
Time bound
but
it.
our kids really loved it, and
They did.
It was a great because they could see, and they had like goal planets. So like, I want to get to there. They all wanted to buy Venus. It was a big thing. So, anyways, that's a really fun one. And I think the kids like a little bit of take that, especially when Dad lands on the planet and has to pay quite a bit of rent and buy fuel from them. And so, anyway,
Yes, the dad tax, which is classic for food, which I get a little bit of everything they get. I was getting dad taxed in reverse now. They got to pay the rent, Dad.
It's fun too because they have to make decisions about should they go ahead, how do they manage their fuel. So there's a bit more strategy than just regular Monopoly, but it's quite fun.
So we talked about, I think in the first week or maybe the second week, we got the 3-in-1 Lego series where our daughter made the little kind of astronaut with the flag. Same set, it's a 3-in-1. She was able to build the old shuttle, and so she broke it apart, put the new one together. This is our youngest was able to do this, so real cool. And I believe these doors open.
Yeah, they do.
They open, and then the arm can come out, and then there's a little thing there. It's really, really cool.
It's a cute model. Those 3-in-1s are very economical.
I believe it was like $10 on Amazon, so definitely worth checking out. I'll put a link to it in the show notes below.
Yeah, definitely.
But very cool. We also kicked out the 3D printer, and we printed up what are they called? What's the flat thing? I always forget the name.
Yes, it's called a kit card.
A kit card, and we did the Saturn V rocket, and then we're going to be painting it. I don't know what color it's going to end up, but I'm going to let the first grader make the choice of what color the Saturn V rocket.
A kit card is basically, it looks like if you were going to get like an old model car or something in those little boxes. Yeah. It's basically flat, and it has the little pieces that are all in halfway.
So they're all printed flat on the little card, and then you break them, snap them apart, right?
Yep, you snap them off of the thing, and in this case, they all just snap together. You don't have to glue them, although you could. Yeah. We may have to so that they survive.
But they just essentially...
They kind of press fit together.
Yeah, they press fit back together, and it works pretty good.
So there's various models. If you have a 3D printer, you can make really tall Saturn V rockets.
There's actually one where you can build the whole gantry arm that goes to support it and before it launches. So that was kind of cool. I didn't print that part, but I just...
Yep, so this will be what we'll work on next week. We'll have them... I think we're going to have to make 2 probably because the other one child is going to be jealous of the other child for getting to paint this. So anyway, that's something that we worked on. You also did some gravity experiments with the girls.
I did. So I showed, first of all, we did basically, it was some solid object, maybe like a ball or something like that. Then we did a feather and a piece of paper. So, and I had the oldest taking the data, and I had her build a table, and she ran the phone stopwatch, and the little one was there helping me drop things. And I was from basically the chair, maybe my height, and then all the way down to the ground, and we were timing it. And then what we did is we changed the geometry of the feather and the paper, and then dropped it again to show that there's resistance from the air, causing it to slow down. And then when that was all done, we showed the classic video from, gosh, I think it was Apollo 14 or 15, where one of the astronauts brought the classic Galileo experiment of like, I think a hammer and a feather. And he dropped both of them at the same time. Since there's no air resistance on the moon, they both fell at the same speed and hit the ground at the same time. So really showcasing how gravity affects all objects at the same speed, but then sometimes there's resistance, a little bit of air resistance caused that to slow the fall. So we did this really cool like impromptu, it just like came to me. I'm like, oh, we should do this experiment real quick and show them, and it became this like 20-minute thing. And
yeah, and then watching the video of the astronauts really doing it on the moon was pretty cool.
Got to ask some really good questions to my oldest, kind of like having her try to figure out what was the delta between the two places. So it was really cool.
Yeah, it was great. We watched a couple of movies. Since we had seen Interstellar weeks back, we went ahead and watched Lightyear, which was kind of fun because we had just seen, the time dilation stuff. But then for the girls to see it and trying to wrap their heads around time dilation was really cool. And Lightyear's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, it's on Disney+. And then we watched Tron Legacy with them because we had seen Tron right before we started.
That was like our intro week that we did.
Yeah, and then the new Tron movie's coming out, I think, in the fall. So we were like, let's get this in. So we watched Tron Legacy also on Disney+, which was quite good. It's a little long, but good. And then you and I watched Gravity because, so good.
Absolutely masterful.
It's just such a good movie. We
Sandra
haven't seen
Bullock
it in a while.
is just amazing in that, yeah.
Yeah, quite good. And then we also watched Blade Runner, the original. So that's one of your favorites. I'm not as big a fan, but I really like Blade Runner 2049, and so I have to watch the old one to get to the new one. So
I agree with you.
It's not my jam, really. It's yours, but I went with you on this.
It's Villeneuve made the 2049. I love Denis Villeneuve. He's great director. But yeah, the original, I know a lot of people don't. We watched, I think, the director's cut of it too.
We watched the director's cut. It's weird.
So good.
It's not my jam, but
it's slow. It's noir. It's wonderful.
But if you haven't seen it,
it's cyberpunk. It's great.
You can check it out, and then you can say you've seen it. I know that lots of people love it. It's just not really my jam. So we're planning to hit up Blade Runner 2049 sometime in the next couple of weeks to finish that off. But the movies were great. The girls had a great time with this week, and I think we had a lot of fun just with the games and things. We were a little busy this week, so we didn't get to work too much on our cardboard spacecraft.
Well, it's really fun to do this as like the only thing we're doing with respect to the curriculum. I think it's been just enjoyable. I was worried it was going to feel a little rushed. It has not been rushed. So if you want to compress this curriculum in the way we're doing it and follow along, you absolutely can do it. I do not feel rushed at all doing this, and we're able to get all the other things in with our reading and our math curriculum.
I think you can almost even we're compressing like 2 weeks into 1 week from the curriculum. And there's a couple weeks we're going to compress 3 weeks into one. But I don't think it would be a problem if you wanted to compress 3 weeks in or take some,
Yeah, I've been enjoying the intensity of it because it's like we're adding on, they're remembering, they're understanding, they're recalling, and I don't feel like it's stretched out so far that they forget what we did last week or the week before. Because I remember, I think the last time we did this, it was like every Friday, and sometimes we would miss a Friday. So it'd be like 2 weeks to get back to it, and you'd just be like, oh, where were we in doing this? This has been really nice. We've been trying to do kind of a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of cadence with this, and that has been perfect. Just continuously adding in and coming back and looping back on the same concepts has been really helpful and really great.
It's not a lot of work, so if you're even going to just do one day that you're going to focus on science each week, and you have a child who's really interested in this content, you could absolutely do a couple of weeks in one day if you wanted to. I mean, it's a couple of books. You pick some activities that you want to do. Maybe you watch a movie that evening. Do a game or something. It's really a pretty light lift, but I agree. I don't think we've been rushed either. We've really been enjoying focusing on it this summer.
We have. So we'll see you guys next week.